Tonight we will take a look at how ASCSU is planning trips for students amidst the pandemic, as well as how the Poudre River Library is planning safe family fun events.
Then we will jump right into some NBA updates and all you need to know on Phase 3 of classes.
All that and more on CTV starting now.
Good evening, Rams. I'm Robbie Patla.
And I'm Wadsworth. Thank you for joining us tonight, Rams. Colorado State University professor Boris Kondratev was arrested at the end of January and has been charged with 2 counts of possession of 20 or more sexually explicit videos of children and 2 counts of possession of sexually explicit material of children. Both charges are Class 4 and 5 felonies. Kondratev is known nationally for his work on entomology. CSU officials were alerted back in October of 2020 by another employee and immediately placed Kondratev on administrative leave and launched an investigation. He is currently barred from interacting with CSU students, engaging with university activities, and being on the campus property.
Commuting between campuses can be a bit of a challenge, especially for students who don't have easy access to a car or bike. Luckily, CSU Transport has got your back. As of January 18th, a new shuttle has provided easy access to the Colorado State University Foothills campus. This new route loops through stops at the Equine Center, Engineering Research Center, and Elizabeth. It also connects with CSU's main campus via bus routes 2 and 32, so those near the Laurie Student Center can find their way toward those previously named locations if they ever need. This route runs 4 times an hour and, according to the source CSU, is the first time in history that students can use campus transport to reach the Foothills campus.
Stephen McNeil was arrested as a suspect for the murder of a Fort Collins woman. The woman was found in a parking lot with severe injuries on February 6th and was pronounced dead at the hospital later that night. McNeil was taken to Larimer County Jail on the first-degree murder charge, a Class 1 felony, violation of a protection officer, and domestic violence. CTV will continue to keep you updated on this as the story progresses.
On February 5th, Provost and Executive Vice President Mary Peterson sent a message to the entire CSU community regarding Phase 3 of classes. In the email sent to all students and staff, Peterson wrote, "We shared with you that we would move to Phase 3 and transition to the remaining in-person and hybrid courses when we had the ability to increase capacity to screen and test, and with the support of our Larimer County Public Health Department." On February 8th, salvia screening capacity expanded, allowing CSU to test all students and faculty on a weekly basis, making it possible to transfer to Phase 3. On Monday, February 22nd, Phase 3 will officially begin.
Being a full-time student while working can be extremely difficult for many students. Thankfully, CSU offers programs such as SNAP to help with groceries.
The part ASCSU committee takes on during the school year is to provide assets for students on campus. Election manager Morgan May tells us what part they play.
We play a huge role in everything that goes on from the day campaigning starts to the last day of voting. We act as a liaison to all of the campaigns, and we really work as a resource to the campaigns, but an ally to the student body as well, because we are a really big portion of what keeps the elections fair and equitable and efficient for everybody.
The committee plans out the elections and brings new ideas to the table on how they can create new resources for students to use.
President Taylor and Vice President Schindler, they've done a lot of really amazing things. They just recently are working on some bills in Senate right now. One is for lift credits to students, so that they, students who are unable to use transportation for other places are able to get credit from the school to use for Lyft, so that they can, do what they need to do, go grocery shopping, etc. But just they're trying to mitigate the issues that have come with transport and the COVID-19 pandemic, because there isn't as many buses and there's not as much capacity.
Programs students use every day, ASCSU are in charge of. If you want to be part of the change, join the ASCSU committee.
Everything that students use on a day-to-day basis, things in the LSC, or kind of go through ASCSU, and I think that's why it's so important to be a part of the student government as well, because everything that we do here directly is for the students, so if you want to be able to make a difference and, leave the campus feeling as though you've like left a mark or that you really did something.
While we're on the topic of students at CSU, another great organization is ASCSU. Sarah Fuller has more information on ASCSU's committee goals.
Committees involved with the Associated Students at Colorado State University have many goals they complete throughout the semester. They give back to the students at
Colorado State University. Committees involved with the Associated Students at Colorado State University have many goals they complete through the semester. They give back to students to try to make students' lives just a little bit easier.
Being a full-time student while working can be extremely difficult for many students. Thankfully, CSU offers programs such as SNAP to help with groceries. Sin K. Mason is President Joyce McConnell's intern and has worked alongside her and other school officials in spreading the word and making it easier for students to find help through the school.
It's called SNAPs, and it's specifically for college kids. And you get like $100 to $200 a month for food, and it comes from the federal government.
You can apply for SNAP benefits by going to RamWeb and clicking on the Basic Needs tab. It provides all the information you need to know about qualifying for SNAPs. If you are not a student, you can still go to CSU's Student Case Management page that has information on other helpful food and financial programs here in Colorado. According to the Statistical Atlas, 6.9% of households in Colorado rely on food stamps. In addition, food stamps support local grocers, ranches, and farms. In 2017, food stamps brought more than $700 million to local Colorado economies. Mason continued to explain that although it may seem uncomfortable to sign up for assistance programs, if you need it, do it. Breaking down the social taboo of food stamps and financial assistance is important and can really help people. He also encourages students to follow their goals and aspirations when working on projects and events they're passionate about here in college.
This campus is very, very small and very well connected. And if you just have a dream, just go do it. And just see if you can.
ASCSU has big plans already in the make. Anyone can sign up to be a part of the committee to share your ideas to make CSU's campus even better and see your changes come to life.
Boulder County has recently been hit with yet another batch of fentanyl-laced drugs. Boulder's emergency room opioid overdose cases have gone up by 143% in the last year. Back in 2017, Fox News host Eric Bowling's son, who is a student at CU, was found dead due to an overdose of fentanyl. Another CU student that same year, Madeline Globe, overdosed in her sleep after she purchased a pill off of the street. Fentanyl is 50 times stronger than heroin and up to 100 times stronger than morphine. Signs of an overdose include unresponsive to sound or pain, not breathing, blue lips or fingertips, and loud gurgling sounds. Colorado does have a Good Samaritan law protecting a person if the person in good faith reports a drug or alcohol overdose, even to a law enforcement officer, the 911 system, or a medical provider.
Don't go anywhere, Rams, because we will be right back after Zaya Hiley's weather report, where she will let us know whether or not we can expect snow this week.
So there you are, shuffling through a stack of resumes, and you come to mine. This is it, first impression, my way in. But can my resume show you how I truly stand out? Like that I was studying, going to night school while working 2 jobs just to help my parents pay for groceries. Or being the first one to always step up. No, that's something you just can't put on paper. Look beyond the resume and discover new ways to develop great talent that is dedicated, hardworking, and determined like me.
Welcome back from the break, Rams. I'm Zaya Hiley, and I'm just going to jump straight into our weather forecast for this week. So taking a look at our current conditions, it's a pretty chilly night tonight, partly cloudy with 16 degrees, so it's pretty cold. And we actually do have higher humidity than normal at 70%, and I'll get into that a little bit later. But we also do have our moon at a waning crescent leading up to our new moon that we're going to have on Thursday. But what we can actually do is take a look at our cloud cover for tonight. Thank you to our friends at NOAA. So as you can see, we have a lot of wind coming in from the eastern side. This is going to be pretty moist since it's coming from the ocean. So if you're on the western side of Colorado, you can expect warmer temperatures than normal tonight, but still cold for what time it is. But if you're on the eastern side, you're getting blocked by the mountains a little bit, and we do have air coming in from the north as well. So it will be a little chillier in the northern side. But we can actually move on to our overnight lows. So like I was saying, on the eastern side, we have cold temperatures, Sterling at 8 degrees, Burlington at 10, Lamar at 12. And then along the I-25 corridor, we stay within the 20s and the high 10s. Pueblo at 19, Colorado Springs at 24, Denver at 21. And then as we get that humid weather on the western side, we can see Grand Junction's getting up to 34, Gunnison at 21, Telluride at 24. And just overall a little bit warmer temperatures, but nothing super crazy for the nighttime. But we can switch over to our daytime forecast for tomorrow. We have colder temperatures again in the east, Sterling and Burlington both in the 20s, Lyman a little warmer at 35. And then along the I-25 corridor, if you're traveling tomorrow, just know that it's probably going to be around the 40s. So Colorado Springs and Pueblo, 42, Denver at 41. And then on the western side, it does get warmer still on Wednesday. We have Grand Junction at 52, Gunnison at 37, Alamosa at 47. And yeah, a little bit warmer for February. But if you're in Fort Collins like me, we can take a look at tomorrow's forecast. So we have a high of 38 and a low of 14. A little bit less clouds today, so it's very sunny, but still chilly. You know, it's a little deceiving. You look outside, you're like, oh, it's so sunny. But then, no, you get hit with those 9-mile-per-hour wind gusts, and you just know it's a little bit chilly. And our air quality, too, is moderate tomorrow. So if you're in one of those sensitive groups, just know that it is a little bit lower than normal. You may have seen the haze on campus today as you walked around with that little bit lower air quality. And then finally, we can check on our 5-day forecast for the rest of the week. So we have Wednesday will be the clearest day we have, and then the clouds will roll in on Thursday and Friday. And on Friday, we do have a chance of snow with a high of 13, a low of -5. I'm not sure if I'm ready for those lows to dip into the negatives, but they're here, so we're going to deal with it. And then for the weekend, we're going to Valentine's Day weekend. We have a chance of morning snow showers, but then it should clear up by the end of the day. On Valentine's Day, we have a high of 15 and a low of 2. So, you know, if you have a loved one, you have a Valentine, make sure you're cuddled up with them. Maybe if someone's listening to this, they can take me up on that offer. But otherwise, you know, that's all we have for weather. So don't go anywhere just yet, because we have more news with Ren Wadsworth and Robbie Patla after the break.
Imagine being fired because of who you love. Imagine being denied medical treatment because of who you marry. Imagine being evicted because of who you are. Millions of Americans don't have to imagine this. They have to live it. Because in 30 states, it's legal to discriminate against LGBT people.
Welcome back from the break, Rams.
We have a lot more news to cover, so let's get right into it.
Since 2017, ASCSU has offered CSU students a weekly round trip to a designated ski resort, costing only $20 per student. However, COVID-19 has resulted in some changes for the program. According to the Collegian, trips were approved by the pandemic preparedness team, but capacity has shortened. Usually, buses have been able to carry 54 students at a time. Now they are only limited to 24, with social distancing regulations still in place. There is also the risk of trips being canceled. If this happens, students who signed up will be notified via email and offered a full refund. As of now, ASCSU still has 9 trips planned, visiting certain resorts such as Copper, Steamboat, Breckenridge, and Keystone Resorts. Trips will take place almost every Saturday and some Sundays until early April. If students wish to learn more about ASCSU or sign up for any day, they can visit ASCSU's website at pts.colostate.edu/ASCSU.
When you hear the word symposium, you don't usually think about cows and corn, but one group has partnered with Colorado State University to change the way we think about agriculture and symposiums. The agricultural industry is one that affects many of us, whether it's our livelihood or the food we eat. The Coalition for Epi-Response Engagement in Science, or CERES, is determined to help defend the industry.
CERES is a coalition focused on issues around animal outbreaks or agricultural outbreaks.
CERES has a mission statement that says to defend and protect the agricultural industry from global health threats and help innovation for food security, which are all values that line up with Colorado State University. So it's no surprise that every year a CERES symposium is held at or around CSU and features many Colorado State staff and alumni as both guests and speakers. This year the symposium was still set to happen, but in a much more compact setting online.
The reason we formed the coalition is, in these really big problems like in COVID and African swine fever or trying to keep foot and mouth disease out of the U.S. These are really challenging problems, and no one institution or sector is likely to solve them by themselves.
Whether the symposium is in person or on the computer, Ceres is determined to keep the agricultural industry healthy and safe for all of us to enjoy for years to come. Ceres has partnered with 5 other land-grant universities besides CSU across the United States and have regular meetings. But you might have to wait a whole year for the next symposium.
Trying to adapt to your heavy course load during the pandemic but can't quite find a strategy that works best for you? Don't worry, because your fellow CSU students have your back. It's no secret that COVID-19 has been the bane of existence for many here on campus. However, when there's a will, there's a way, as many students have plans to cope with the pandemic.
Having like a to-do list has been really good because it holds you more accountable for your work, whether it's actually like you're going to forget or just by like being confronted that you have to do things. And so I think that's pretty helpful.
Simple strategies such as making a to-do list can go a long way for academic and social life.
Set a schedule and stick to it. Once you start sticking to it for about 2 weeks, you start actually finding it hard to break your schedule when you really hold yourself to it.
I would recommend maybe going out and doing something, even if it's just like going for a drive or something, even if you don't want to. And probably just getting involved with things that you can.
Making time to get out, get moving, or participating in a hobby is something all these students utilize.
A lot of my biggest strategies have been keeping up my hobbies and setting out times to participate in my hobbies because that is what makes us human.
Even though COVID-19 is an unpredictable force, CSU students are hopeful for the future.
This past year has been hard, and this year doesn't look like it's much easier, but I'm hoping that everything will die down soon, and I hope everyone will cling to the little bit of hope that we still have.
There are a multitude of different ways students can stay sane and motivated during this time. As the semester presses on, these strategies can greatly enhance chances for success.
If you've already exhausted your unemployment benefits or have not filed a claim, you will be able to starting February 22nd. The Colorado Department of Labor and Employment said they are getting ready for Phase 2 of the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance and Pandemic Emergency Unemployment Compensation Programs. Since February 1st, Colorado has paid out more than $160 million in benefits and reached over 100,000 residents by the end of 2020. Colorado had almost 270,000 people who were unemployed and went from 5th lowest unemployment rate pre-COVID to 4th highest unemployment rate by the end of 2020.
Well, Rams, that is all the hard-hitting news we have for you tonight.
But don't go anywhere because Ellison Hubbard is up next to tell you about a student athlete who has made CSU history, so stick around.